When I say schedule for later, I really mean that. Fuck me, man. I'm going to get changed real quick and get my shoes off because this is making me rather uncomfortable. So bear with me, and I'll be with you lot shortly. These shoes are always a fucking pain in the ass to take off. God damn it. It's almost like trying to get your ex to piss off and leave you alone and let you enjoy your life, quite frankly. God. Damn these bloody things. Right. Now, clothes. Yes, I need them. Back a bit. Right. Nearly ready. Getting old as well. I don't want to say it's because I'm overweight, because that means I have to take some fucking responsibility. Right. First question. I know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it. But I think the first real question is, grey hoodie or this lovely shirt? Personally, I want to go with this shirt because I feel like I've worn this thing a little bit too much. But I'll give it another 20 seconds, let people come in, and we'll get the show on the road. Hope everyone, though, is keeping well. So, obviously, this is going to be about what transpired earlier today as far as Rudakubana. Sorry, Rudakubana. Or maybe I was right first time. You've got your day off tomorrow? I don't know what's supposed to be happening. I mean, I'm sure they'll bloody let me know if something's happening. But anyway, back on point. Rudakubana ended up sentenced today. And I actually had to go live with this and delete my upload because it turns out they have actually put the amount of time that he's going to serve now, which I didn't have in my video I was going to upload. So he has been sentenced to a minimum of 52 years. 52 years. Ironically, what I said in my video I was going to upload, but I've deleted now, because obviously this has happened, is basically, I was hoping if he gets anything less than 60 years, it's an insult, quite frankly. But thank God there is at least one judge who has got some balls in there, whether up here or down there, or of course in my case both, to actually make the right decisions. I know it's hard, being that he's an Islamic terrorist, but at the end of the day, you need to be robust with this stuff. I think a lot of people personally would prefer it if it was just he sticks his head in a fucking stock and then a blade comes down on top of him, quite frankly. And I wouldn't blame them for thinking that, because there are some people who literally are the scum of the earth and deserve nothing less. But I think what really triggered me, something awful, was what he said during this sentencing. How he was glad that he murdered those innocent kids. No kid deserves to have his life robbed, or her life, as the three cases may be. I'm not exactly a massive fan of children. I hate them, personally. But that does not mean that I do not have any empathy, sympathy, or whatever for those kids who lost their lives. I understand completely why people want to have them, people want to raise them, people want them to grow up to be really good people, so I can get behind it. I mean, we'll get to what he is in a moment, but the way I slice it, this guy shouldn't even be getting any time out. He should be either serving a whole life sentence or he should have his life taken from him like he took the lives of those three girls. Alice de Silva Aguilar, I did actually find out the name now. Elsie Stonecombe or something like that. I can't remember her surname off the top of my head. It always seems to elude me. And of course, Bebby King, God rest their souls. What's happened is basically Rudakubana has been sentenced to 52 years in prison, and I'm just discussing it here. Hope you're doing well, though. I think, though, there was also 2 suspensions of court where Banana tried to make out that, oh, he was ill. Turns out, and I actually did look this up, and I don't think anybody covered it. I think Mayatuzi tried to cover it when I gave the super chat out, but he accidentally said Keir the traitor Starmer. Now, as much as I hate that Prime Minister, an absolute bastard, I can't lay the blame with him because he's not responsible for that shit. No, what I'm talking about is he basically... My brain's gone blank. He starved himself for 10 days. And then he tried to make out, I'm ill. No shit, Sherlock. You've malnourished yourself for 10 days. Of course you're going to be fucking ill. Of course you're not going to feel good. Though, frankly, I think the only real ill Rudakubana is ill in the fucking head, quite frankly. But what chills me even more is the fact that in this article that I had found, turns out that one Deanna Keir, KC, tried to imply that there was no evidence that this guy was a religious terrorist. I'm just trying to find the bloody post now so that I can actually link that shit in the description. Well, sorry, not the description, into the chat below. So please bear with me while I sort this shit, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He starved himself. He was also basically enabled by this judge. I'm giving myself echo now because I've got this thing on. Anyway, here's the link. That will take you to the story where... And hello, by the way. That'll take you to the link where Deanna Kerr HC has been proven that she tried to say there was no evidence whatsoever that he was an Islamic terrorist. I think the Al-Qaeda manual they found would prove otherwise. So, a nice little bit of perjury from Deanna Kerr herself. Like, this is the thing. I guarantee you, if we had flipped the roles here and it was a white person in court facing charges of murdering 3 Muslim girls, the judge would have not just thrown the book at them, they probably would have grabbed a tank and thrown that at them as well. They would have said this is a vicious far-right racist attack that was driven by hatred, and I'm going to sentence you to life without parole, and I'm going to fucking see about considering the death penalty and all that shit. No, you misunderstand me, City Grounds. I'm not a big fan of kids because I've been bullied a lot while I was at school, basically, to give you a small TLDR on that shit. I'm not really comfortable around children because of the way I've been treated by other kids in my past. But that does not mean I'm going to go out of my way and be like, oh, fuck you kids. Oh, they deserve what they get. No, I'm not going to be like that because I understand that not every child is an obnoxious little shit. I understand that completely. That's the way I see it. And I'm sure as shit certain that those 3 girls who lost their lives probably weren't little shits. I am willing to say that much. So, if you've gone as a subscriber, that's fair enough. But I'm just saying what my stance is. I know it's a disgusting opinion. I accept that. I have my own flaws. I want to be a better person, but I am mad right now at this child murderer, and we need to focus on that. We need to focus on the person who has robbed 3 girls of their lives, who has threatened the lives of 8 other people, that had enough ricin to have 12,500 people killed if that stuff was deployed. And all that kid could say was, I'm glad I did it. That's the way I look at it. I don't want to be of that opinion, frankly. If people want to bring children in the world, it's their choice. But I can understand why you would think, well, in this current climate, like, I can see both sides of that. Just like I can see both sides of how it can be a bad opinion for me to say I'm not really comfortable around children. At the same time, you can probably understand from my upbringing of how I've been quite badly abused by kids at school, how I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm not really comfortable around them, quite frankly. But the way I see this, AXEL should be getting the death penalty. No question about it. But our government is too gutless and corrupt to be able to do that. They're more interested in doing everything they can to protect the Muslim community. They've said that they will do everything they can to prosecute us, the supposed far right. The way I slice it is, I feel like anything that doesn't involve this child, I guess, that is Rudakubana, living in that cell for the rest of his lives, in misery, in fear, knowing he'll never get out until basically he's old and decrepit, then it's not good enough. I think he should suffer. I really do. I think Rudakubana really should suffer while he's in prison. I don't often say that about people, but for people like him, I'm willing to make a special exception. Because you have to be a very special kind of evil to not only fantasize about death, not only to glorify mass violence, not only to go out and then commit mass violence, but to then be like, I'm glad I offed those children. It really does take someone with a heart that is as black as an onyx stone to want to do that, to want to say that. And frankly, I think people like that, if they ended up in a real prison, not ones predominantly Muslim populated, all I'll say on the matter is there are some people in there who would know how to make him disappear. Just like that. Because the one thing you can say about prisons is they take a very dim view of people who prey on kids or murder kids. There are people out there who would quite willingly serve a life sentence to make one less problem in the world, quite frankly. And let me be clear, I don't condone it. I don't want to justify it, but I completely understand why prisoners, or other people for that matter, would feel that way. I completely understand it. But it truly disgusts me how there are people in the left wing, people in the establishment, people in the mainstream media who will all sit there and glorify violence against the far right. And they will sit there and they will say, I don't think he's in Belmarsh, he's in Woodhill, I believe. And I think that's the same one which Tommy Robinson is in as a category D prison. City ground. Yeah, get a grip. Exactly. That's what we need to do. We need to start taking back control. And I put this forward because I said this in my original video I was going to upload. I think Keir the traitor Starmer has got until the 1st of March to resign. I think after that period, if he ain't gone, something's going to happen. I think something is going to happen and it will be an extremely dark day for Britain. Probably one of the darkest we've ever had. It'll make what happened in the Battle of Britain look like a breeze. I think there are people who have truly reached the end of their tether, quite frankly, and I think they would be willing to do whatever it takes to get the country back. And I don't want it to come to that. I don't want it to come down to an overthrowing of the government or a violent revolution. But the cold, bitter truth is, there are many people who are starting to feel that may be the only option we have left now. They look at Keir the traitor Starmer and think, peace hasn't worked. It hasn't worked with the others. It sure as shit ain't working with him. And they may get desperate and they may decide to take matters into their own hands. And all this case in Southport does, all this does, is it causes anger levels to rise even higher. Think of a volcano. Think of a volcano, the lava's rising, it's shaking, the top's about to blow. And when the top blows, do you think it's going to stop? Do you think the lava's just going to stop at one town? Do you think that this metaphorical volcano will stop at the town of Southport and be like, okay, that's enough damage, let's go? No, it's going to spread like wildfire across the country. People will rise up all across the country in an attempt to overthrow the government. That's the way I look at it. And as I said before, if they try to bring the army in, well, they said around half of them would serve the government, and that was when Boris was in power. Keir the traitor Starmer will be lucky if he gets a fifth of that. He'll be lucky if he sees that many. I think there are far too many people right now in the nonce party, I mean the Labour Party, or maybe I was right first time, who are so far up their own arses, they wouldn't be able to tell what's brown and what's blue. There are so many people who covered for the grooming gangs, so many people who cover for Rudakubana, so many people who will go out of their way to protect the people who should be in jail, who should be getting quite rightly prosecuted by what is the Crown Prosecution Service and should not be the Criminal Protection Service. I truly hope that there is some justice done in prison where Rudakubana is. I truly hope that someone is going to do something about it. Live statement at 5:45. We'll have to see what that says. Maybe I'll report on it tomorrow. Who knows? Though what I will be saying is I am going to be going live on XCOM. No, live on Twitch in about 15 minutes, or maybe 20 at most. So if you want to tune in for that, I will be linking that momentarily in there. Where's my bloody channel? There we are. That is my Twitch channel. Obviously, if you do want to come over and see me on Twitch, please bear in mind there is a very strict politics policy on Twitch, which I prefer to keep my gaming and my politics separate. We want to do politics, this is the place to do it, on YouTube. Gaming, we can have a laugh, have a joke, talk about things other than politics, and have a little bit fun on Twitch, basically. But yeah, we can beat the system, and you're quite right, we mustn't comply with the system. When tyranny becomes law, resistance becomes duty. And I think the best way for me to end this stream on is, it's ironically a quote at the very start of the very game that I'm going to be playing on Twitch, which is, those who play with the devil's toys will be brought by degrees to wield his sword. There's your fucking stroke. Buckminster Fuller. And we were talking about Rudakubana, but basically, to give you an overview for those who are coming late, Rudakubana has been sentenced to 52 years in prison. He was a disgusting, vile piece of shit during the trial. Kicked out of the courtroom twice, saying that he was ill because he hasn't eaten for 10 days. And effectively, he said that he was glad he murdered the 3 kids. So, that's the basic TLDR of it. But at the end of the day, we've got to do something about it. And I think our last chance to get a peaceful resolution is the 1st of February. And as long as nothing comes by, i.e. the man upstairs decides to smite me where I stand, or me or any one of my family members is on my or their deathbed, I should, touch wood, be down in London on the 1st of February. I doubt I'll be allowed on stage because I think I'm too much of a loose cannon, quite frankly. Obviously, it would be nice if I was, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it. Not unless you want to see me go and then be like, oh God, I'm dead. Anyway, moving on. Thank you all for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure doing this. And if anybody wants to watch me play XCOM, I've already put the link to my Twitch in the chat. So if you want to join there, you can. Fought for Britain. We won. We shall win again. Hopefully. I'm more of a realist than an optimist, but I do want to believe that we do have a chance to win back this country. It's all down to Keir the traitor Starmer now. He has got about 35 to 40 days to resign now, quite frankly. And if he doesn't, well, he will be to blame, basically, for the uprising that could come and sweep away the peace in this country.